Welcome back to Stay in Your Lane with Ashley Battersby.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. As we mentioned before, we have a guest that has shattered every bone in his body. Please help me welcome Ron and Renee Gilchrist. Now, if you can walk us through what happened with that ordeal, that would be...
First, it was just the face. The face got shattered.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I did.
It's
I'm
okay.
so sorry.
So basically, my face took the impact. Instead of a helmet taking the impact, it was my face. And that impact bust up everything. Eye sockets completely destroyed, jaw broke in 5 places, this jaw completely displaced. It broke like a tree, so they put it back together. You know, a tree, you can't really line up.
Right.
So that's like forever.
Right. Wow. And I mean, looking at you now, you would never think that you lived through such an ordeal.
Yeah.
That is really, really something. Really something. And Renee, how was that, you know, for you as the wife and number one supporter?
Yeah, it was very traumatic. I always say I think I have a bit of PTSD because you know, yeah. So yeah, it was you know, for 24 hours we didn't know, you know, if they're we have twins, if their twins would have a dad. So
right.
It was a tough time, but yeah, we're just grateful he's here. And
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Long road to recovery, but like you said, you're here.
Yeah. It was harder on everybody else, more hard on everybody else than it was on me. I just was rolling with it.
Well, yeah. I mean, at that point, you kind of just have to do what you have to do, right? So did this involve surgeries overseas?
Yeah, they waited a few days to make sure that I could make the flight, I guess. I don't know the details. But then, so we flew to Boston, 9-hour surgery, and they kicked me out of the hospital pretty much the day after.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, that's a good sign, obviously. But I mean, it's a little...
She was freaking out. She's like, that guy's not ready to come with me. No. His face was all swelled up.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I can imagine. I can't imagine actually. Wow.
Yeah. And just backing up, the reason, you know, we were... After the accident, he was admitted to the ICU. He had to be really closely monitored because with facial injuries, you can run the risk of like your throat swelling up. And so that was one of the biggest concerns on the day of the accident was that they were going to have to put him in a self-induced coma and intubate him. Thankfully that didn't happen, but they monitored him in the ICU. He stayed for 3 days in the ICU.
Yeah.
We couldn't fly to Boston right away because of air in his brain. And then when we did, we were air ambulanced out and we had to fly at sea level because of the pressure.
Really?
So yeah, he had a medevac team and yeah, it was crazy. Wow.
My goodness. I don't think I've ever heard of that before. That's, wow.
Yeah. The hardest part was laying down, so I couldn't lay down. This plane was real little. Couldn't sit up, so I just sit in like this weird position.
Like a weird recline.
Yeah, and my daughter gave me a teddy bear to take with me.
Oh.
And my butt hurt because it was terrible and uncomfortable, so I put the teddy bear on. I sat on it for the...
All supporters appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. The flight was the most uncomfortable out of the whole thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
And here in the ICU, I kept saying, well, I'm in the ICU. I'm fine. Just put me in the general.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it looked worse than you felt?
Yeah.
Kind of.
I think so.
Well,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So today, do you have any residual issues or anything from it?
Yeah, it still hurts to chew.
Okay.
I think I'm kind of learning to eat again because my jaw was wired shut for 2 months. Food falls out of my mouth sometimes.
Okay.
But yeah, it's coming.
Do you want to explain how they did the surgery? Like cutting you where they cut you. So like initially when the surgeon came in to meet us when we first got to Boston, the plan was they were going to slice him this way and basically like pull his face down. But then when he saw him, like he had the whole surgery planned on, like we have 3D scans. You can see the photos of the scans. he had the whole surgery planned out on a video on his phone, but then when he saw Ron, he had such a deep laceration right across his eye that he thought, oh, I can go in through there.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to explain the rest, because I only know that.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, how many do you have?
There's 11 plates, 65 screws.
Wow. Okay. And those are for the rest of your life?
Yeah, they could take them out, but that would be surgery again.
Right.
I'm not going through that.
Right. And I mean, if you're functional and everything.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, and if you can see in the photo, the mesh under his one eye socket there, there was nothing holding his eye up.
Yeah, so when I was here in Bermuda, every morning I'd get up, go to the bathroom, and, well, I don't know if it was morning or not. I have no concept of time. But every time I looked in the mirror, my eye was going further and further into my head. I'm like, well, that is weird.
Yeah.
So when I got to Boston, they said there's no more eye socket or orbital. So they had to put a mesh in to hold it up.
To keep it. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. That must have been interesting to see.
They are really good at that there, though, because it's the Boston Bruins Hospital, so they shatter their orbitals all the time.
Okay.
It's like routine for them.
Right.
But now I have a net in there for the rest of my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you feel anything, or it just feels completely normal?
Yeah.
So like if you didn't know it was there, I
wouldn't know.
Wow. Isn't that amazing?
He did give me a facelift though on this side of my face, so now this side looks normal and this side's facelifted.
Well, you look great.
Yeah.
considering what
yes,
happened,
absolutely. And you're in great spirits and everything. So how is it riding now? Have you done that yet?
No, haven't done that yet. No bike yet. So I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. In time, maybe.
Definitely. If
everybody I talk to, like, there's no way you're getting back on a bike. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, and I guess like that's the big message we want to. So when all this was said and done, the medical team here in Bermuda was just amazing. And so I reached out to one of our attending doctors, because the night that we thought he might need to be intubated, obviously it was like really emotional and traumatizing.
Yes, I can imagine.
And so she held my hand and, we had a cry, and I reached out to her and I said, like, what can I do to thank you? And she said, honestly, you're a teacher, and you have a voice, or you have that power to, if you can just spread the word about, she said, you wouldn't believe the amount of facial injuries we get every week in the hospital. Obviously not all to Ron's extent,
right.
But I know even now since the accident, it's really raised my awareness. Like I'm riding and I'm counting, our kids who are 9 are like looking, oh, he has a full face helmet, or he or she doesn't have a full face helmet. And it's just kind of raised that awareness. So she said, rather than thanking me, if you could just spread the word about, a full face helmet, because that's just one way, obviously it's not going to solve all the problems, but it's one thing you can do to protect yourself. He would have walked away. He would have literally walked away with nothing.
I would have had a broken finger.
And
then the helmet would have done, because the helmet itself did its job by protecting my brain, but I had nothing protecting my face. So if I would have had the facial protection, I'd had a broken finger.
Wow.
Everything would have been
we
fine.
were in Boston for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, so we have twins. Our twins obviously were here, so it was a lot to orchestrate. Like, our friends were just amazing. They just took over until his parents flew to Bermuda to stay with them. So, I mean, it was a lot. But, like, had he had that protection, he really would have walked away.
Right. Wow, that's crazy. Well, it's amazing you had a support system, because that in itself, as like you were for him and you had for you.
Yes.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Poor decision making on my part.
Well, I mean, hopefully we can, get the message out there and people can start making better decisions, and, we have less and less accidents. I know we've been talking about a lot. We have more on the way, including how Ron was able to eat with his jaw wired shut. Stay tuned, you guys. We'll be back right after these messages.
We'll be right back after these messages.